Fantastic, right? So, is this considered to be fantasy sports?
It is not. It's actually in its own separate category. So there's only two ways to engage in sports betting right now.
Yep.
One of them is your traditional sports bet, as everybody knows it today. You place a wager at the beginning of a sporting event.
Is that one of yours?
Uh,
She's logged in as Mike Skura.
I
Oh,
think so.
sorry.
And so there's really two ways to engage in the fan experience of sports right now. The first one is your traditional sports bet, which we all know because it's been around for thousands of years and it hasn't changed. You place a wager at the beginning of an event and then you wait till the event is over and you either win or lose that wager. The second way came about in the early 2000s, well, in the early 90s first, with the advent of fantasy football and fantasy sports, where you had a little bit more control and they considered that a game of skill and not a game of chance. And you now had the ability to set a lineup. The problem with that was that as soon as something happened in your lineup and your team went sideways, you were completely disinterested in what was happening throughout the season. So there were some really smart guys from Boston that came up with a carve out called daily fantasy. And that was the next evolution of sports. And what made daily fantasy better than traditional fantasy is exactly that. Now you could set this lineup and create this game of skill virtually every week and every day. And one of the reasons why FanDuel and DraftKings own this space, about almost 80% of it today, is because they spent a decade developing a massive database of daily fantasy customers who then they converted into sports betting customers once PASPA was repealed, which is the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. And so we are sitting here today looking at a completely different way to engage today's sports fans. This is a sports exchange where you have the ability to trade the performance of professional athletes like you do stocks in the stock market. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the product and the inner workings of it, because I'm sure that there's a million things on top of your head in terms of how it works. But to give you a little bit of background of kind of where we've been and how we got there, Marty, thank you very much for giving us a chance to tell the story. We've been at it for a couple of years, and just by the way of introduction, my name is Mike Skura. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tour Trader. Tim Legender is here with me. He's my co-founder as well. He's actually the brains behind the operation. And so where we've been over this year and the last 3 years is we've launched a free-to-play platform. We validated the market. And we created a large IP moat around the business as well. Over the last 28 years, I've been looking for an infinitely scalable business. Ever since I immigrated here from Poland back in 1995 with my parents. So English is my second language. So if I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, just please excuse me and bear with me. But back then, when I actually landed right here in JFK, was the first time I stepped foot on U.S. soil, and I went to Times Square in 1995 from Eastern Europe. So you can imagine that I was never going back. Back then, we were looking for a different opportunity. It was called the American Dream, and I'd like to think we found it. I spent the first 10 years of my career working for one of the world's best financial services institutions, where I learned what a big, profitable business needs to look like. I also met my co-founder, Tim, there, and together we raised billions of dollars for the organization, had quite a bit of success climbing the corporate ladder. But at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur. I was a risk taker, and I needed to find out how much value I could really create in a lifetime. So I spent the next decade on my entrepreneurial journey working on a variety of different businesses and industries, everything from owning a construction company to decentralized finance, yield farming and liquidity mining, you name it. Some people called it entrepreneurial ADD. I called it getting a lot of experience and doing a lot of market research, looking for these seismic shifts in the economy and in regulatory reform, because we know that's where these big things come from. And then in 2018, it happened. The US government repealed PASPA, which was the Professional Amateur Sports Protection Act. And all of a sudden, the largest market, sports market in the world opened up to sports betting. We knew we had to take advantage of the opportunity somehow, but we weren't sure how. And coincidentally, at the same time, my co-founder, Tim, came to me with an idea of building a sports exchange where you can trade the performance of professional athletes live in game, like we used to trade equities. We thought it was an incredible idea, so we did due diligence on it, decided to self-fund it, build the product. We launched it 18 months ago as a free-to-play platform, and like I said, we validated it with customer demand, and now we're ready to go live in a couple of different states. Now, if you're not familiar with the exchange business model, which I imagine most of you in this room and on the call are, it is one of the most profitable and scalable business models in the world. All we do is connect buyers and sellers and take a small transaction fee for doing so. The more transactions we process, the less expensive each transaction gets. On average in the US, if you look at an exchange business like the CME Group or Interactive Brokers, their gross margins are 65 to 75%. At the same time, if you believe that a sports bet is a financial transaction at the end of the day between a buyer and a seller, it's going to follow the same evolution of most financial markets, which means spreads and fees are going to compress because of competition, and we will see the winners controlling the volume, right? Now, also with the incorporation of artificial intelligence and large language models like BetGPT now, any of us in this room can become an expert handicapper in any sport. This is going to create massive efficiency in the sports betting business, which will make it look more like a true financial market. The sports betting business is absolutely booming. So for those of you who don't know, who are not in the business, last year there was over $100 billion bet on sports in the US, and it's only legal in 30 states right now. The American Gaming Association also estimates that there was another 500 billion that was bet in illegal markets. We'll see some of that shift as more states come on board, but it's not even legal in 3 of the largest markets yet, which is Texas, California, and most of Florida. I say most of Florida because it just actually passed on tribal land in the state of Florida. So it's certainly coming. We do have some more information about the product itself, but as we were going through this journey, we initially thought we were too late. We got into it in 2020. By the time we launched and we had everything in place, seemed like the free money of 2021 was already deployed in the space. Luckily, that was a tailwind for us because a lot of the early VC money that went into that particular space to take advantage of the deregulation went into companies that had no idea how to monetize the sports customer experience. And so over the last 5 years, you've seen companies like FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars Entertainment, Penn Gaming spend billions of dollars on 2 things: market access and customer acquisition. The dust has settled, and everybody now is shifting focus to the other 2 things that are more important, which is customer retention and product innovation. And this is exactly where Tool Trader Pro comes in. We deliver the 3 things that sports customers are looking for, which is better pricing, more action, and a familiar feel with a splash of differentiation. We give people that frequency of betting. Now, we are launching in the US and internationally. Again, like I said, it's going to be a global sports exchange. We are looking for a couple of more partners that are interested in coming on board and helping us further support this business and get it ready for a global launch. I will open it up to some questions, and I can invite my co-founder Tim up, and I'll also quickly run through some slides. But is there any initial questions about what we're doing or how we're doing it?
How much have you raised so far, and how much are you looking to raise?
So far we've raised a little over $1 million, and we're targeting between 10 and 15. We're interested in parting ways with 25% of our business so far. And so that's kind of the target. Now, I don't know if we're going to need all of the capital that I just described. I feel like we'll be able to self-fund a lot of the growth. So as I mentioned, $100 billion market, and that's only in US and in USD. So more importantly, there's another strategic partnership that we've just created and established with a payment processing company that's going to allow us to take and process trades in digital currency. This is going to open up a multi-trillion-dollar marketplace for us and allow us to get access to over 90 million customers with digital wallets all over the world. So the opportunity here is absolutely tremendous. Do I have a screen sharing?
Yes, you should. Yeah, you got about 5 minutes.
Perfect. So to give you an idea, this is what the platform looks like from a high level. It's kind of a combination of Apple stocks and Robinhood, and maybe a little bit of Fidelity sprinkled in there, since that's a place where Tim and I both grew up. So you have the ability, it's as easy as 3 clicks from download to placing your first trade. You swipe right to buy, you swipe left to sell. We do have an entire order book and bid-ask spreads for sophisticated investors, but anybody from the age of 21 to however old you are can use it. We have a wide range of demographics using these products today. This platform really exemplifies responsible gaming, and I want to take a second and point out that the regulators love this product because it is the only product on the market right now that allows limit orders and stop losses for customers. It also allows you to diversify and hedge your traditional positions with this platform. So we're not taking away from existing sports betting platforms those customers. We're just adding an additional source of revenue. Rather than spending billions of dollars on customer acquisition and competing against FanDuel and DraftKings, because that is a losing battle, we decided to take a different approach. So we are actually a supplier of the exchange to existing sportsbook operators. Our platform is going to live on their app, and we will get instant access to tens of millions of customers here in the US and hundreds of millions of customers across the globe through these types of integrations and a simple revenue share. We started with golf because it is near and dear to our hearts. We both love it, and the structure of the game works really well for an exchange type of business where you can make decisions in between shots. Some people are doing well, some people are doing worse. Tennis is actually the third most bet sport in the world after cricket and soccer. And then, of course, F1 with the growing popularity are the first 3 sports that we're going to be getting into. Now, we're going to be building each one of these as its own vertical because we believe that today's sports fan needs to be micro-targeted. And a football fan is different from an F1, who's different from a golf fan, who's different from a tennis fan. And we want to attract those customers in a very, very unique way. So you can see that, based on some of our our early projections, we're looking at doing something in the neighborhood of 15 million with 10,000 users, almost 200 million with 50,000 users, and then close to $500 million in transaction fees with 100,000 users. As I mentioned, we're ready to go to market in early 2024 with live money trading, and we are interested in parting with 25% of our business for a partner who's got the vision and the willingness and the ability to go along for the ride with us.
And what's the pre-money?
Is so 40.
So we raise 10 million. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you very much for the time. If you have any other questions, we'll be around afterwards.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thank you.